Jolly Christmas, everybody, from Karen.
Okay. Happy Christmas. I hope you enjoy your flowers. From Rosie.
Merry Christmas from Farmer Phil.
Merry Christmas from Noel.
Merry Christmas from Ricky.
Merry Christmas from Silver.
Merry Christmas from Wendy.
Merry Christmas from Will.
Merry Christmas, listener, from Rach.
Merry Christmas from Gareth.
Have a good Christmas from San.
And Merry Christmas from me. Welcome to Christmas show at Wiggly Wiggler. Happy Christmas, team.
Hey, happy
Happy Christmas, Heather.
We haven't got any champagne.
That wouldn't have even occurred to me had you not mentioned it, but now you mentioned it. I'm thinking, why haven't we got a champagne?
Malt cider? We've got any malt cider left over?
Oh, that's it. I'll go and get us some. In
excellent.
the meantime,
Always
Rich,
sleep in the
off you
office.
go and start the chestnuts.
Shall I okay, here we go then. I'm going to open Phil's roaring, previously roaring wood burner until Phil came into the room, and now it's smouldering. But anyway, it's sufficient for our needs.
We wanted to back it off a bit, Rich, because we didn't need to blast a hole in the
No, that's very true. No,
quite yet.
it was toastier than it needed to be in here. So I've got this. Where did you get your chestnut frying pan from,
I
Hev?
got it from Bailey's at Ross.
We ought to describe it, because I don't think we're going to get on much frying the eggs in it, Rich.
Well, essentially, it's a frying pan, isn't it, with holes in the bottom of it?
Looks as if somebody shot it.
Yeah, I suppose it makes sense for you to have this
What
kind
do
of
the
thing.
holes
You've got
do,
that
then?
smoky feeling to it.
Why do you
And
have
you've
the
got your
holes?
chestnuts, Hev, from where?
I got my chestnuts from Hope at Longtown.
Right.
Can you hear me, Michael? I'm over at the champagne bar.
So how many do I need to roast at one time? Well, we'll do a few, eh? So for a
Fill the pan. Fill the
there
pan,
we go. I've checked in
Richard.
there. So this is quite fun, really, isn't it? Just doing this. I hadn't imagined I'd do this today. I suppose that's quite nice, really, to be able to come in and do something other than you imagine you might be doing. So anyway, these guys are smouldering away. I suppose the trick with chestnuts is not to overcook them. It's a process similar to cooking pine nuts or sunflower seeds. But
about chestnuts.
when I was a kid, they were one of the main sources of pocket money in the autumn.
But those aren't conkers, are they, Rich?
No, they're not conkers. No, these are sweet chestnuts. They're not horse chestnuts. You don't want to be. The last thing you want to do is fry up a load of conkers.
They're not good for you. If you get eating too many conkers, I think that's not very good for you.
I think even one conker might set your tummy a tremble. Yeah, no, not good. Oh, well done. Oh, fantastic.
Nicely opened hair.
That's good. One thing I'm going to say about you, Hev, is you do respond well to prompts, don't you?
Unlike you, Rich.
Unlike me, it's completely oblivious to such things. That's right. Fair play. Oh, golly
Come
gosh.
on, I want to know what eats chestnuts. You know, what are they, tell us all about them. I want to know.
What are chestnuts? Well, these little guys come from, they're quite large, but you assure me that these are British chestnuts. Generally speaking, the really big chestnuts you seem to see in the shops are probably from France or other parts of the continent, but the English chestnuts, British chestnuts, tend to be a little bit smaller.
So sweet chestnuts, Rich, these are the ones that you find on the floor wrapped up in their little
spiky little housing, yeah.
And you're very lucky if you get to them on the floor before Mr. Squirrel's had them, aren't
Yeah, precisely. It's usually that you get the chances are better when they're really good crops, because every fruit, it tends to crop slightly differently from 1 year to the next. Chestnuts, no exception. Cheers, Hev. Well done.
Are they like apples? Do they have a good year and a bad year?
Yeah, same crack. Yeah, definitely. And when I remember, we as kids we used to go along the bottoms of the trees and we used to kind of stamp on all the chestnuts that fall on the ground and then pick the chestnuts out of there's a point at which you can stamp too hard and squish the proper nut inside that really spiky package. But there's definitely a balance when you're splitting the packs as well, because unlike conkers, that have those very distinguishable hard spikes around them, which don't really spike your hands at all. Chestnuts, after a couple of hours of pricking, you can get quite painful, sore fingers.
It's a bit harsh. I made the rash promise some years ago of providing sweet chestnuts for the local bonfire night, because I knew where some were.
Right.
And by the time I'd picked a tub trug full of them up, my hands were in some state of disrepair.
I tell you, I bet it's not as painful as my chestnut injury, though.
What, you fell out of the tree?
No, well, you remember
Oh, they're
when I
cooking
arrived at
bits.
Wiggly Wigglers last year on crutches? That's because I broke my ankle out chestnut hunting.
Oh, really?
In the Forest of Dean, yeah.
That's extreme chestnut
That's
hunting
extreme.
there.
Yeah, that's right,
A
yeah.
friend
How many
of
did you
mine.
find?
Well, I didn't find any because I broke my ankle, but a friend of mine who's from the forest basically has commoners' rights to go and pick the chestnuts there. So we went out on his annual chestnut hunting expedition, and 10 minutes into it, I'd fallen over and broken my ankle and fractured my elbow.
I bet you were flavour of the month.
Yeah.
Did he
They
invite
carried
you
on,
to go again this year?
No, they carried on without me.
I think the
Yeah,
answer
well,
is
don't
that you
ruin
should
the
have a
trip.
drop more water with it.
Don't you think, though, that Christmas should be about doing these strange things like, roasting chestnuts over an open fire?
Yeah. I think whatever you think about Christmas, you do tend to adopt slightly different behaviours, don't you?
Yeah.
So,
Well, Farmer Phil goes for a walk.
excuse for that, doesn't he?
He does not.
Sorry, that was a lie.
Further than the van to the house. Surely not.
Outrageous thing.
I don't believe it for 1 minute, Ev.
I did
Listen,
go
what
ploughing
about
one time.
decorating the house? How will you decorate your house?
Minimally.
Do you know, I made a Christmas...
Ebenezer is with us.
I think I've
Rachel, what about you?
I think I'm going to join the WI. I made a
Wild
Christmas...
Indian?
No, the Women's Institute. I made my own Christmas wreath this year, and it's so lovely. It's just... I got one of those willow
sale from
frames.
Wiggly Wigglers, isn't it?
I got one of those willow frames, and then I went out in the garden and picked lots of ivy and fir, and raided a friend's holly tree because he's got holly with berries on every single sprig, and it just looks gorgeous. And when I was out the other day, it's made me look at things around much more differently, because I walked to the post office the other day and I was looking at all of these trees
You've
and
just
the
spent
holly
too
and
much
the
time near
ivy.
Rich, haven't you? You're walking around looking for things to pinch.
Oh yeah, no, totally I was. I was thinking, can I get away with chopping some willow off that weeping willow tree next to the pub? And I actually crossed the road and went and bent it a little bit to see how powerful it was. But anyway, when I was out on my walk, I came across this garden just down a normal kind of house street with houses on it, and they had turned over their front garden into 4 immaculate raised beds.
So that would have been their lawn.
That would have been their lawn, and I just thought, I wanted to go knock on their door and say, I think you're great.
We need a Wiggly prize.
I think
you
you
have
should.
a
I thought you
sticker
should,
that
Rach, yeah.
says you've wiggled your garden.
That would be good, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, that would be a great way of...
Because those little pieces of
Frozen
lawn,
things.
Rich.
Oh, this mad girl turned up and brayed on our door the other day, and she said, I don't know, she was called Rachel or something. She was the sort of person that was very young, and she wanted to join the
And
WI.
enthusiastic.
Anyway, she gave us this lovely little voucher from Wiggly Wigglers. I've never heard of the company before, but yeah, fantastic. So we've got a £5 gift voucher now, purely because we created a raised bed system in our front lawn.
We need
But what
it
would you
happen.
think, though? What
Don't
would
you
you
think-
think if somebody knocked on your door and said, I don't know, I just wanted to knock on their door.
Well, I think
and say,
they'd
it's
have an
fantastic.
Probably
ulterior
better than
motive.
Keith Chegwin knocking on your door.
I think we should have Wiggly nominations.
Yeah.
I think if your neighbour has dug up their lawn and turned it into raised beds, then we
Or a
should have
meadow, or a wildflower
yes,
meadow.
Yes. Then you should let us know.
That's a cracking idea.
And we will send them a little Wiggly prize of wiggliness, wherever they are in the world, because
Yep.
I just think that is so cool. Because what is the use of that lawn,
Nominate
Rich?
your chum.
Yeah, nominate your chum
a Wiggly
for
prize.
a Wiggly...
Award.
I was going to say bum, but it didn't go. A Wiggly yum. Yeah. Nominate your chum for a Wiggly yum.
The
There you go.
champagne's obviously
You're a
gone to her
poet.
head
Michael's
already.
lying on the floor in trauma.
Thinking. He wasn't as much as he is anticipating a slightly different off-the-wall morning. It's still more different to the one that he imagined it might be.
How can his eyes rise up any more to the ceiling than that?
Oh, they can. If you
look,
upset him enough, they go
We've got,
round
we've got
and
some we've got business
We're
here. You
ready.
see our chestnut? We're not quite. Our chestnuts are splitting. You see here, they've got some nice,
Oh, yeah.
nice splittage. Because you don't want to cremate the old things, but equally you need to sort of make sure they are cooked and warmed through.
We've
I've got to
done-
say, I prefer chestnuts that aren't roasted. You know.
Do you?
You are?
Yeah, actually, it's one of the nicest things now to go if you go down to Covent Garden, or if you go through various places in Paris and whatnot. At this time of year, and you buy a little pouch of roasted chestnuts. or possibly even a nice little roasted corn on the cob or something like that, just with some salt on it. It's the best thing, isn't it? You feel, and that's what gets you into Christmassy spirit, I reckon, especially if you've got a couple of mates with you and you're talking about nothing in particular and you're buying these little treats and just, like you say, doing something that you wouldn't normally do.
He hasn't said, especially if you've got your wife by your side and you've taken her for a Christmas trip.
Oh, well, no, Sarah's would be...
for another earful there.
No, but I would think that Sarah would be already with me in those situations because she's...
escaped there.
Because actually, she's the only one that says, come on, get your wallet out, Rich. Otherwise...
I'm sure she's not the only one who says, come on, Rich, get your wallet out.
She doesn't know.
So you don't ever say, come on,
this moment must be more special for you because they're free.
Oh, absolutely. Sort of. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, that's absolutely right. Yeah, well, that's, some of the best things in life are free, aren't they?
Are they?
Well, actually, there's probably very little in life that doesn't cost you anything at all. But
so, do we sell chestnut trees? Sweet chestnut trees have? Because I would love to grow a chestnut tree because they have the most amazing canopy and beautiful, beautiful leaves, don't they?
Can you ask me another question? Like, do we sell a Guelder Rose?
We sell a Guelder Rose.
Do we sell a Guelder Rose?
Yes, we do.
What is a Guelder Rose?
£15.50.
Actually, we should take this opportunity to say, we sell. The reason that we sell a Guelder Rose, which is a wonderful plant, but of course you can't really eat the berries. Well, you could, but you'd be very poorly. Birds will eat them, obviously, which is why we sell them. But it's a bush that gets to a certain size. The reason we don't sell sweet chestnuts is that folks would plant them, and within 20 years, you'd have something rather.
They're quite a fast-growing big tree.
Yeah.
Are they?
The other thing about sweet chestnuts, and don't ask me why this is, but squirrels love the bark. They create havoc with them, particularly when you're trying to establish a young one.
Yeah, it's very sappy, isn't it? It's very soft and sappy and succulent.
Got chestnut plantations, and it strips off, and squirrels love, if they can get hold of the end, they'll peel great long strips of it off.
You know how I listened to the bird song CD for 3.5 hours to try and learn the songs of birds and failed?
Yeah, that was slightly that you were listening to it without the list of names to go with it.
I wasn't. Tweet, 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 tweet. Robin.
A few more seconds and we'll be feasting.
Tweet, 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 tweet. Wren. Yeah. Anyway, I have the same problem with trees. I cannot recognise one tree for another. As Rachel will testify, I can't tell my lovage from my celery. So, what I would like to know is, I'm out walking and I'm looking for a chestnut tree. What does it look like? Rich.
Well, first off, it's got a very smooth bark. It's a kind of a bark, possibly similar to an ash tree, I suppose. But it's not knobbly at all, the bark. And
it's almost got a metallic sheen to it.
Yeah, I suppose it has really.
But shape of canopy, etc. I'm approaching from a distance.
Large chestnut trees have quite a presence. You tend to find that they're coppiced a lot, where certainly in the woodlands that are managed, chestnut coppice is the chestnut posts are some of the best of the last 25 years in the ground, untreated. And perfectly sustainable way of making, doing fencing as well.
Okay, so it just looks like a normal tree.
It doesn't really. I suppose it's difficult to say. I wish there was one around here. I could, and then we could distinguish between the two.
Yeah, but we're on a podcast, so we need to communicate by.
The leaves are oval and pointy at both ends, aren't they?
Elliptical, I think.
The leaves are elliptical.
Yeah, that's right. Excellent word. Yeah. So, but.
It has
they can get to a fairly dramatic size. They can be a big old tree. One of our largest are broadleaf timbers, definitely.
Chestnuts on the farm, Phil?
Yeah, we've got quite a lot of chestnuts in the wood. It's a good timber to grow commercially. It's quite quick growing, and if you can keep the squirrels out of it when it's young, there are lots of uses for the timber, as Rich said. Chestnut timber is unusual because it splits predictably so that you can cleft it.
The only trouble with these chestnuts is you've got to be really careful when you want to try and get the pithy skin off them as well.
Oh, yeah.
And these are particularly good at, actually, these chestnuts are really good because sometimes they're pithy skin. There you go.
Do you know what? I don't know if I've ever had chestnuts roasted on a fire before.
Really? I love them. This totally reminds me of going over to my Uncle Bill's.
I wanted. Oh, you brought chestnut.
I used to roast his chestnuts.
Do you like them? Do you think they're tasty?
You burnt this one,
He used to give me a marathon, and I used to look at his croissants and eat roasted chestnuts.
Oh, wow. Yeah, funny how...
Now, on the note of Bill, I'd like us all to send a good get well message to Billy. Now, I sent Richard's get well message to him last week, which was I went up to him and gave a big kiss on his cheek and said, "That is from Ricardo." And he answered with the appropriate word beginning with F and ending the next word ending in F, and I knew he wasn't feeling too bad at all.
Right.
So, can we say a huge get well to Billy, because he's listening to our podcast while he's in the Queen Elizabeth. For those of you who are not sure, Billy is my brother. He's a digger driver. He has had a heart transplant, and he's just in there having a few problems with this and that. So, would you like to send your get well wishes, team?
Get well soon. Hope you're feeling better, Billy.
Keep up to it, Billy. And the important thing is, for those of you on Facebook, I'm pleased to say that in the not too far distant future, Billy will be having a Facebook page.
Is he as good as Heather at doing that then?
And you, Rich?
Aren't they very nice?
A get well message to Billy?
Yeah, no, Billy. I was when I say to him, I did ring him up in hospital a couple of weeks ago and told him that his pond was doing really well because he dug a pond down in the bottom of the field below the house. And it's really brilliant actually. It's looking the part. And I think Billy's particularly enjoys doing ponds, and I suppose he would really because he's definitely got a very endearing nature, hasn't he, Billy? So I suppose it's quite rewarding to build something that accommodates all sorts of wonderful things, and which ponds do.
He likes doing roads too, though.
Yeah, well, yeah. I suppose he'd like doing anything at the moment. If he can get out of that blinking hospital and get back on his machine, then he'd be a happy boy. Yeah. Yeah,
he's got a plan. He's going to be lifted into the machine by another machine.
Right.
So well done, Billy.
I did offer him a can of cider when I went.
So Billy listens to the podcast religiously, does he? Or?
Yeah.
Right.
Before we go, Bill and I, on a very cold day, went out to see the bagging shed and find out all about how they bag up our seeds and feeds. And we spoke to Pussy and Kevin. So we'll have a listen there before we end today's show.
It's useless. They just can't stop laughing. What's he bagging, Farmer Phil?
Well, they're happy, aren't they?
They're happy in their work. We're in the bagging shed with Puss and Kev. And what's going on?
Pussy's bagging peanuts and Kev's trying to keep awake.
Right, okay. So just explain our bagging procedure, because our listeners may wonder how you, Farmer Phil, knock up all these bags of peanuts, all these bags of seed, bokashi.
Well, I've got this extremely sophisticated setup with these highly trained operatives.
Just remember, people might be purchasing.
Well, it's all based around an electronic weigher stroke bagger. So that's the most important bit. That weighs out the seed and Pussy or Paul bag it off at the bottom end of it. On top of it, there is a mixer, which is also standing on load cells.
Right.
And so that we can weigh what's in the mixer. So it's like cake making on a grand scale. And then we blow up into the mixer the different ingredients, and the weight comes up on the display so that we can make the mix up, build it up to the total, mix it up, and then put it through the bagger, bag it, pack it, put it in the stillages and send it round to you lot.
So let's just go over and see what they're making today. So, what are we on?
Wiggly
Seed Extra. It's a complete secret, the recipe.
Yes.
But I can see that it's got black sunflowers, linseed, canary, hemp, black rape, buckwheat and striped sunflower.
That's right.
Is there a secret ingredient that Farmer Phil only knows about, or is that it?
Well, not really, no. It's just a question of balancing up the ingredients for the benefit of the birds and to some extent making it a cost-effective operation. So some of those elements are quite expensive and some are cheaper, and so by altering the ratios you can alter the price of the result, but then there's usually a compromise on the benefit potential or the attractiveness to the birds.
So, Puss, are you the fastest bagger in the West?
Well, I think I'm quite reasonable.
Can you? So today you've got peanuts, farm mix, seed extra, worm mix, rot for leaves, black sunflower, lime mix and worm treat, French labels to do. Will you make it?
Well, I'll do most of the mixes.
Will you?
Yes.
Well done.
The straights will more or less be done on Monday.
Very good. Thank you very much. So, Farmer Phil, how many tonnes are going through here a day?
It varies really, but I mean we will probably put 2 or 3 tonnes on average through each working day. You know, this time of year it starts to get more as the winter, you know, we've had a few frosts The birds are eating more.
Then do you find it almost irresistible not to get plastic bags and automated facilities rather than these gorgeous paper sacks and a stitching machine?
Well, not really, because when you look at the cost of the automated facilities, and they are hugely expensive, doing it this way gives us the flexibility. It gives you the packaging that you want, and for us it's quite an acceptable way of doing it. We're doing very short runs compared to a lot of processes where they put the same thing through the machine all day.
Yeah.
So with these short runs, it's actually quite a lot more flexible. Also, we've got loads of different bag sizes, so it's nice and easy to change. You know, it's not difficult, and as long as the people actually doing it don't get too depressed with what they're doing, as long as it's easy enough to do.
He didn't seem depressed.
No, he's not. And the point is that there is an interest to it. But if it was so tedious that you had to automate it because people wouldn't do it, then that'd be a different thing. But particularly in the winter time, it's actually quite enjoyable having a job indoors, right in the middle of the yard where everything's happening. It's quite a social activity. And I don't mind doing it from time to time, and the boys don't mind it either. They seem to have a good laugh.
How's the new farm mix going? 70% sourced from Farmer Phil.
It's going all right. It's priced at the lower end of the mixed market, and yeah, you seem to be taking it away, so it must be all right.
And so, as we leave you, dear listener, we wish you happy thoughts for Christmas and simple pleasures. Check out the tinsel and get yourself a chestnut roaster. Indeed. What do you think?
I think spot on. Yeah.
Happy Christmas!
Happy Christmas, everybody.
Happy Christmas!
Happy Christmas!
Thank you all. We won't be here next week, so we will see you in the new year. Have a lovely, wiggly Christmas break. Wiggle on. Bye.